Hey folks, ET here coming at you with the weekend review. So let's take the wrap up and get going. We're going to cover SPY and QQQ tonight. So let's just go ahead and take a look and let's just get rolling. Obviously, we do not pay attention to the net flow in these, even though today did show bearish. We were a little bit down. Those can end up being quite mixed. So let's go ahead and jump in. For the first time in a while, we actually see SPY deltas pointing down, but I want to point out that our back test has been kind of slowly shrinking with our total returns here. The percentage used to be quite a bit higher, but it hasn't been performing exactly how we want it as of late, so we're not really watching that. Instead, we're checking net put delta, which is increasing slightly, or net call delta, which is also increasing. So it's kind of a mixed bag there, and we'll probably take a look at some data and figure out why that might be here in a second. Going into its price distribution for Monday, looking pretty bullish, which is interesting to see. Today was just really a range day and a consolidation day. In fact, make sure you remind yourself these do change, so check them every day. But if we're going through all 5 days next week, we are seeing some bullish price distribution. But make sure to check these at the end of every day. Checking our dealer OI for SPY, showing a very bullish position, and a new wrinkle we have is customer OI, which is also showing a bullish position. Remember, customer OI is kind of how you would think it would be. Green bar means bullish, when dealer OI, red bar actually means bullish. So there's a little bit of confluence there between these two things, right? We see some price distribution that points to upside, and we also see that dealer OI and customer OI pointing to some more upside. Let's go ahead and check. Pretty interesting to see where we kind of ended up finishing around today. We finished right around 439 or 449, and we had a nice little bar there as a rappel that was on a positive note. Let's go ahead and just check our 721 expiry. So when we're checking our 721 expiry, our biggest pull is pretty crazy. Well, not too crazy, only $3 up, 452. So think about this for a second. If we're looking at some solid positive price distributions and some dealer and customer OI that are pointing to the upside, 452 is a pretty good spot to look, and 454 would be another decent spot. It's a decent sized pull. Downside for the week, 444. So if we have a down day and it happens to be quite a sizable one, that's our next biggest pull. Okay, and then its bounce would be around 442, which is actually our largest dark pull level. Around 443 is still sitting right there as we go. So that's kind of a range that I would look for, is anywhere from 454, and there's a large range, to 444. That's a $10 range. If we happen to have a big retrace pullback day, then obviously that is a good spot for me, swing wise, to go long into the biggest pull. Now make sure you check these daily to see if they've changed any. Another important thing you can do is you can kind of check what they look like each day. So for Monday, it's showing 439, which seems very absurd. That is a $10 drop, which would really only happen, in my opinion, if we gap down big off something during the overnight and pre-market session. That would be the only way I think we would reach that all in one day. But that is an interesting pull for that day. You go into the 18th, and your biggest one then is 448. So it looks like that 454, 455 to 445 range is a pretty one to support. Which is also weirdly looking at this at 440 is when we saw that 438. Price is supported here. Not saying we go down that deep, but it is something to keep an eye on. Just remember, when you're looking at these things and these price distribution, all these things happen, it doesn't mean that price can't go contrary to it. It is just a guide for you to kind of start planning your trades out, and you're going to do a lot better if you start looking at these daily gamma levels, all right, and seeing where each pull is kind of happening, and kind of plan your trades around that. Looks like so we have 445 for Wednesday as well, so that's interesting to see, and we're still looking at our 440 there. So that's what we're looking at for SPY. Let's go ahead and take a look at its levels. It is kind of just hanging out here. I will point out that a ghost zone has been printed into, let me delete that for you, into 458. So if we do see some upside, right, if we do see some upside, we do see those price distributions coming true, and we see some of that gamma change, it's quite possible that we could see a very big run up next week. Got some earnings, obviously, that have been happening, that have been causing things to happen. So really looking at it, it's pretty congested around here. We still have our massive dark pool down here at 442.94. And I'd like to point out, we'll go ahead and check one small thing. We had, it disappeared. It was here earlier. I tweeted about it. We did have a dark pool print at 429.30. earlier, and look where we finished for 29.28. It wasn't the biggest one, I think it was 50 million, but it was pretty crazy to see that we ended up closing at the spot that we saw that dark pool print basically at the end of the day. So that is SPY for you. We'll go ahead and just jump in and take a look to see if there were no dark pool prints on QQQ. Its largest DP is still down at 364, right? And then 369 is up there a little bit too. These big prints that we see, right? I forgot to show you SPYs. It's still that 442.94. I like to look at this a lot. These are important to me because I like to play around these levels. If I'm seeing some data that might support going the direction of them, albeit up or down, I am very interested to see if maybe I could short down to this spot or around here. But doesn't always come to fruition, so you have to play it safe and play the daily data that you're seeing as well. All right, jumping into the QQQ, right, its back test also not the most stellar looking one when we're going here, so we kind of aren't going to pay attention to it. We can check its net put delta, which is highly increasing, but its net call delta is increasing as well, so we're showing a little bit of mid price action there. Oh, let me see if I can refresh and get the rest of our stuff up here. It looks like I am struggling with the QQQ data at the moment. And there we go. Now it's popping up just fine. Must have been my internet for a second there. So it's looking a little bearish going into Monday. Tuesday, a little bit more bullish. Wednesday, more bullish. So it's kind of lining up with SPY a little bit. But then we see some more bearish position here. I think there's Tesla earnings next week, so that could affect it in some way, shape, or form. Dealer OI is actually substantially bearish. All right, and its customer OI is also bearish as well. So that's some interesting data points. Looking at its expiry just going into next Friday. Its biggest pull is it's pretty even between 368 and 383, so it could see a wild week. And looking around here, it's supported the most kind of these big levels right here. If you take a look at it, supported the most right around this 380-ish. So that's pretty interesting to see. So maybe I don't think we see a 368 to a 383 range. It's pretty wild that we see that, and while also seeing a pretty big range on SPY. So pretty interesting to see that could be a change. Let's just check its Monday real quick. See what we see. Its biggest pull is 380 there. So that makes a little bit more sense. 380, 380. Price is around 380, so it could be one of those days that it pulls and consolidates around here. Just checking its levels, we know where its biggest dark pool is. It's way below. All right, we'll take one more look. The next one will be 369, which isn't even on our screen from where we are price wise. It's way down there. It does not have a massive ghost zone up like SPY does. It does. So my guess for QQQ next week is a consolidation range week. Probably, if we have a really bad day, still not sure I see a $10 drop throughout the week, but it is possible, I suppose. I think we'll probably range between, maybe this 374 and the 383. That is what I'm looking at for all of these. Everybody have a good night, a great weekend, and go get that Oprah money.